Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chris McPherson Show, another daily dose, and it's time to talk some hoops. We've been in the FIBA international break, and we're going to talk about some World Cup qualifiers as everyone starts to look ahead to the 2027 World Cup in Qatar. And we're going to recap through all of the groups, just touching on a lot of the points, just to give you a quick overview and a quick recap of where you need to be and what you need to be across when it comes to the World Cup qualifiers. If you are joining us for the first time, make sure to hit subscribe, or if you haven't hit it already, then get on involved. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, and get involved in the comments as well. So wherever you might be tuning in, whether it's on your favorite podcast platform, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you're watching along on our native home at YouTube, get involved. Let us know. Let us know who you think is going to make a surge in these World Cup qualifiers when we get to the next round of them. But for the time being, let's dig into this and let's start with the key takeaways from the FIBA break and these World Cup qualifiers. Obviously, the biggest talking point for a lot of these sides, no NBA stars. The NBA continued on through the FIBA break. The NBA is bigger than FIBA in the NBA's mind, even though we know when it gets to some of the big tournaments, a lot of the names would love to play. So these qualifier windows, they generally do not stop. So the NBA continues on, the big cash machine that it is, driving dollars for the players, and it's hard for them to say no to those the way it is structured. So a lot of teams, Australia included, without NBA stars, and we'll get into that. But certainly Australia, the USA, Canada, France, the likes of these countries, all without their NBA stars. But we will start in Asian qualifying for those who are a little less au fait with the FIBA structure. Asia and Oceania are bundled together. So Australia and New Zealand all in the same crew, alongside countries like Lebanon, Iraq, Iran, China, Japan, Syria, Qatar, the hosts as well. So in Asian qualifying, though, the Aussies, they came up against the Tall Blacks from New Zealand in their first two games, and they were far from their polished best without those NBA stars. But they did grind out 2 wins against New Zealand, getting them done. The most notable of those, the game in Wellington on New Zealand soil, the second of the 2 games, where a late 3-point dagger from Will Davo-Hickey got Australia home after they trailed by 10 in that final quarter. And look, it had been a similar story in their home qualifier earlier in the week down in Tasmania, where they had to fight back and claim a late 5-point win. There was plenty of standouts for the Aussies. Davo-Hickey was good. Keanu Pinder, great in the second game. Kay was good as well for the Aussies, as was Jalen Galloway, who just takes his basketball to another level when he's playing FIBA hoops for the Boomers and puts on that Aussie singlet. Hasn't quite found it gelling for him for the Sydney Kings yet this season, but he's certainly continuing to put up some strong numbers and strong performances in the Boomers singlet, as he did at the Asian Cup earlier this year. Well done to the Aussies. In the other Pool A matches, the Philippines, they put the Minnows Guam to the sword by a combined margin of 65 points across their 2 matches, so they will sit on top of Group A. In Group B, Japan sit top with 2 wins over Chinese Taipei. That's fairly standard, as you'd expect, while the story of the group was South Korea, winning not just on the road in Beijing against China, but doubling up with 2 wins as the second a 14-point win in front of a home crowd. Lee Hyun-jung was the star across the 2 games. He led with 33 points in the win in China, as well as 14 rebounds, and then backed it up to second top scorer in their second match with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And the piece that makes this notable, the South Koreans ranked 56th in the world, the Chinese 27th in the world, so nearly 30 ranking places different. So big results for the South Koreans. We know their women's team are always there or thereabouts when it comes to the Asian tournament. So their men's starting to make some progress, and the KBL is continuing to go from strength to strength. So it's certainly good to see. In Group C, it all went very much to script. Jordan and Iran are by far the top sides in that pool. Iran ranked 4th in Asia, 26th overall in the world. They made short work of their matches against the lowly ranked Syria and Iraq, respectively. While in Group D, it certainly turned things up for the Asia qualifiers. The 64th ranked Saudi Arabia stuck to script with 2 wins over India, both home and away. While Lebanon, they got home in their tight 1-point game against the scheduled World Cup host, 83rd ranked Qatar. But it was then a boil over in Zouk Mikhail, Lebanon on Sunday night as the Qataris won by 3 points, hanging on late to see off the Lebanese, who are ranked 53 places above them in 30th. So absolutely phenomenal from the Qataris. Bodes well for them as they head into their World Cup qualifiers. Obviously, the good news for them is they will qualify no matter what, because they are going to be the hosts. They are already through into that World Cup, but they will still play through these qualifiers as warm-up and competition prep games over the next little bit as well. So, certainly interesting to see how this continues on for them, but that's a statement win for the Qataris. Let's head to the European qualifiers, and wow, we saw some wild finishes in a few of these games, some interesting results as well. We'll go through, not necessarily in chronological or alphabetical order, but we might start with Lithuania staving off Great Britain with a late flurry in their first pool game in what would have been an upset for the ages. Lithuania ranked 9th in the world. They would have, absolutely been a shock loss had they gone down to Great Britain here. The Brits ranked all the way down in 43, but they managed to go on an absolute flurry. Check it out on YouTube if you haven't already seen it. Just rapid fire, big buckets from outside the arc for Lithuania to scrape home. A former powerhouse. They've been an Olympic medalist, these guys. So, unfortunately for Lithuania, they backed that up with a loss to 15th ranked Italy. Italy had already been upset in their first match against 46th in the world, Iceland. Great Britain getting a win in those games as well. So everyone's sharing the points in their pool. When we move on to looking at Group F for the European qualifiers, 11th ranked Latvia dropped an early result as well to the Netherlands, who sit 43 spots below them in the rankings, going down 86-78 at home. So that leaves Poland undefeated in top spot. 4th ranked France dropped a result away from home without their NBA stars, going down to world number 17 Finland. So that's a little disappointing for them. World number 2 Germany, they did what they do. They went 2-0 to start their campaign, wins over Israel and Cyprus, as did their group mates Croatia in Group E. We head to world number 3 Serbia, and they're also alongside world number 12 Turkey. They both claimed 2 wins respectively. A win each over Bosnia-Herzegovina and Switzerland to sit clear in Group A. Although Serbia were far from convincing, I guess. They only won their games by 2 and 4 points, so they'll need some work. But again, they'll be missing some of those key players. We head to Spain and Ukraine's group, and they're both undefeated, while Greece lead Group B with wins over Romania and Portugal to start their campaigns. Over to the Americas, qualifying, almost everything went to script. The top sides in each of the pools, the USA, Canada, Argentina, and Brazil, all in the top 10 in the world, and are all sitting top of their groups with 2 wins from 2 games, continuing to do what they do. The most notable result across the groups was 16th ranked Puerto Rico. They crashed to a loss to the 95th ranked Jamaican side, who also managed to make it 2-0 as they beat not only 16th ranked Puerto Rico, but the 51st ranked Bahaman side as well. So certainly a team maybe on the rise, the Jamaicans. Keep an eye on them as qualifying continues on. In terms of the African qualifiers, only 2 of their 4 pools started their qualifiers in this event, in this round of the FIBA window. They're sort of splitting theirs, as opposed to a lot of them that are playing over 3 international windows. They will play in 2 of the 3 windows for each of the groups. So Pool A, the big improvers in recent years in African basketball, South Sudan, they sit atop Pool A. But there are 3 sides sharing the honours, with it being 2-1. South Sudan they lost to 57th ranked Cameroon. Cameroon shared their loss to 49th ranked Cape Verde, while Cape Verde were defeated convincingly by 30 points by South Sudan. They all got 2 wins and 1 loss in their 3 games. But, of course, that South Sudanese team will feature names that are familiar to plenty of us. They're players who've been raised here in Australia after escaping the war-torn country and are going back to represent their heritage. They're featured in the NBL or the NBL 1. Guys like Jackson McCoy, Makur Maker, and Deng Dut are a few of the names to mention there. In the other African pool that got started, 72nd ranked Guinea made a strong start. They defeated Tunisia and Nigeria, who ranked 22 and 19 places above them, as well as 90th ranked Rwanda. They do sit atop Pool C, or Group C, sorry. So a good start for Guinea, another team to keep a bit of an eye on as they make a rise. But again, as we know, no African sides inside the top 20, just 2 inside the top 30 in South Sudan and Angola, and then the Ivory Coast sitting 36. So quite some movement, some opportunity to rise up and push for this World Cup qualifying berth for these African nations, and we look forward to seeing the emergence of them. But that closes out for this episode of the Chris McPherson Show Daily Dose. A big thank you to you for tuning in. As always, you can jump on and hit subscribe down below on whatever platform you are tuning in on. and get amongst what we are popping out there. As of course, you can catch up with us on our social media channels too, at The Chris Mack Show. But until next time, a big thank you for tuning in. Make sure to stay tuned for plenty more basketball action. We're doing some watch-alongs this week too. Wednesday night, we've got the New Zealand Breakers taking on the Sydney Kings, and Thursday night, it will be the Illawarra Hawks clashing with the South East Melbourne Phoenix. But until next time, a big thank you to you for tuning into your home of the black and white of sports. No grey opinions here.